And I'm Matt Hanna.
And this is Horror Hour with the Hannas,
where we talk about the scariest movies of the year.
Yeah, so today we are discussing the 2024 new release, Oddity. The beginning of the episode is going to be spoiler-free, as per usual, and we'll get into spoilers later. We'll announce when we're doing that. But Oddity is, like I said, a 2024 release, written and directed by Damian McCarthy, starring Carolyn Bracken and Gwilym Lee. The back of the box summary is: a psychic medium attempts to uncover the truth behind her sister's murder at the site of the crime with the help of a mysterious wooden mannequin.
So prior to seeing this, I only knew a little bit about it, and it was just, I think people talked about it on Twitter. And that's all I really saw. I heard it was very good. I think some of the other podcasts we listened to had recommended it as well.
Yeah, Susie from No Bodies had posted about it and said it was really good and one of her favorites of the year. And I was like, okay, I'm ready for this. I had also heard that it was definitely one of the scariest movies of the year because everyone had mixed opinions on Longlegs and if it was actually scary. So then I saw a bunch of posts that they were like, if you want to see something actually scary, watch Oddity. And I have to say, they were very, very correct. This movie scared the shit out of me.
I felt that this was both scarier and a better movie all around than Longlegs.
There are things that I definitely liked more about this, and there are things I liked more about Longlegs. I think they're pretty different movies that are trying to do different things. This one, though, I feel like is a more cohesive movie. The tone doesn't really change throughout, which I think benefits it. And it's very scary. It's going for a different kind of scary than Longlegs. I think Longlegs is something that I might prefer to rewatch, but this movie, like, the scares are crafted so well.
You know, I completely agree. It's just, I also find it to be much more unique than a lot of the horror movies that I have seen this year, where I have found a lot of them they're trying to copy and be similar to older horror movies. Kind of felt that way about Longlegs. This one felt very fresh to me.
Yeah, I thought this, I don't know. I wouldn't say it felt like as unique to me as something like Cuckoo, which was kind of just like off the wall. But I did find the concept really interesting, and I feel like compared to every other movie I've seen so far, this had by far the best crafted scares. I think this movie knew how to increase tension, and I think it had really great imagery as well. So I feel like it kind of captures multiple different kinds of scares.
Yeah, I would say when I'm saying unique, I think you're right. It's not conceptually as unique as Cuckoo. Yeah. I think it's structurally much more unique than Cuckoo. Okay. And I think narratively more unique than most horror movies that I thought it was going to feel like. Because I think when you go in, it feels like kind of a run-of-the-mill haunting type of movie. And that's just not what it is at all.
Yeah, that's certainly not what it is.
And also the way that the scares are crafted, where there's a lot of familiarity, but they end up all being, I think, unique and scary. And this was definitely one that I was scared of more than any of the other ones we watched this year. Or for this podcast, really. Other than like Skinamarink.
Yeah, I think besides Hell House LLC, this is one of the scariest movies we've watched since Skinamarink. I feel like this year we haven't had a ton of movies that are this kind of scary. Like I said, I do find Longlegs scary. I think I felt like that suspense scary where my chest hurts the entire movie, but then like that didn't always pay off with any like particular scares, versus this one I felt in pain and it would pay off with a scare and then it would give me a moment of downtime and then I would get panicked again because I knew another scare was coming. I felt like this one did a really good job of giving you some breaks narratively where you were like, okay, I know I can breathe in this scene, and then it would bring you right back into it.
They were short-lived.
Fuck with you.
They were very short-lived breaks, but they were there. You're right. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I don't want to look at the screen anymore.
Compared to everything else on this podcast, this has my like longest hides ever. There was like one scene where I like didn't watch the entire scene because I was like, I can't.
Wait, Which is weird because, like I said, it is unique, but it's not anything you haven't seen before in terms of these scares. It's just apparently the way that the tension was crafted was just so much better.
Yes.
And so much more, you felt so much more like despair. And I guess that's what I'm saying is like unique. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what was done that created that atmosphere for me, but I know it was there because I didn't want to look at the screen, but I did not hide.
Yeah, I feel like the house design itself kind of lended to that. I think the oddities themselves that the film is named after, which we'll talk a bit more about, lend itself to that. I think the performances, especially with our leading lady, like she's pretty unsettling. So that helps. I think the movement of the camera and like what it chooses to show and when is great. There were certain scenes where it just like panned the whole room, and that's why I couldn't look. I was like, oh my God, it's gonna happen. And then it didn't happen, but then it happened later.
I don't know if he was influenced by Skinamarink, but that was what I was thinking about on those panning shots. Those slow, like really keeping you off of where the subject should be.
I mean, hell, like Insidious does that a bit. Like James Wan has like a very specific way of moving camera as well. Like I feel like when you think about the origin of modern jump scares, I think you can attribute a lot of that to Insidious, like Lonely said in our episode with No Bodies. And I feel like this movie kind of took that and...
Did it better?
Maybe wait longer and made me want to die more. Yeah.
And use stings, but not as obnoxious.
Yeah, there wasn't that many stings, I would say.
We should specify that there were jump scares in this movie, and there were stings. I felt like pretty much all of them were earned.
Yes.
And I don't need them, but I do think that they really kind of allowed that. It allowed the tension to be released, but then also gave more tension to each scene after, because you were waiting for something scarier than the last to happen. Yeah. How many hides and screams were there? Can we get to those?
I think we might have a new podcast record. We had 7 screams and 6 hides.
And how many screams did I have? 3. That's probably a record for me.
Oh, it's 100% a record for you. You have not screamed that much. Even Skinamarink, like you weren't.
Well, Skinamarink's not there's one jump scare in Skinamarink. The rest of it is Skinamarink is I'll give the edge to Skinamarink on Scary or movie because that was one that I actually wanted to check the time because I didn't know if I could make it through the whole movie.
Oh, I was checking the time. I made you pause to look at how much was left.
On this one. I'm saying for me, though, that was like a big deal for me as the person that doesn't hide and kind of just faces it. So 3 screams was just multiple, probably at least 3 very well-crafted scares.
At least 2 of those I also screamed at the same time. There's one scare with a camera, which, again, like we've seen plenty of movies that have a camera scare that might not be that dissimilar from this one, but fuck did it get me because there's a camera scare and then something else in the room gets you right after, which you don't expect because you expect the camera scare, but the one after you don't, so that's when we screamed.
I didn't expect either, so I must be dumb. Both of them really got me.
You're so dumb if you didn't expect the camera scare.
I expected a scare, I didn't expect it where it was placed.
Oh.
That's what really caught me off guard. I kind of got lulled into a false sense of security with that one.
No. Okay.
Which was funny.
Yeah, see, no, I predicted the first, but then the one right after, I was like, what in the fuck?
So, decent amount of hides and screams.
Yeah.
I don't want to, like, oversell this movie because then people are going to watch it and be like, it's not that scary. But, like, for us, this was just really effective.
I'm going to just say that we were both kind of on edge yesterday about our lives in general. We're traveling soon, and so we have a lot of work due. And so we were both having, like, life anxiety. And so I don't know if that just, like, put us more on edge. So instead of starting at, like, a 2, we were starting at, like, a 5 or a 6 internally. So I do want to say that could have contributed, but then, you know, I'm seeing other creators who agree this is the scariest movie of the year and that this was terrifying. So, you know, I guess it could go either way. I definitely was starting from an unsettled place, and then this movie just, like, broke me down. Also, I will say, in terms of the scariness, I often, after watching movies when I get scared, try and leave a bathroom light on. And Matt will not let me leave any light on in our house because he's a dick. and yells at me when there's lights on.
Yells at you. That sounds abusive.
Critiques me. Criticizes me and turns the light off. Matt let me leave a bathroom light on, and
I didn't want to go and look in the mirror.
yeah, he was also
dark.
yeah, like we were both not having a good time. In the middle of the night, I was definitely like a little worried I was going to see the wooden mannequin and that it would like change positions. This has a similar, like if you've seen Hull House LLC, which is also a future upcoming episode, stay tuned. It has like a couple scares that are similar to the clown scare. And those will get ya. Oh, what a time. What a time. I'm like, feel like I'm on edge talking about it because it got me so bad.
Yeah, well, is there anything we can say that isn't spoiler free, or do we want to get into spoiler talk now?
I think we've been talking plenty that's spoiler free about the scares, and we can give, more specific examples later.
So, overall, we think you should go see this. It's only really available on Shudder, or you have to rent it for like $7 on YouTube, Amazon, something else. Honestly, probably worth it. I think you should. It was low budget, made by like a kind of up and coming filmmaker.
He doesn't even have a Wikipedia page.
So, and like, I'd like to see more of this, so go pay for it.
Yeah.
Or get Shudder.
I was trying to see if I could find the budget for this movie, and I couldn't, but his first movie in 2020, Caveat, had like a budget of like 200,000 euros. So I can't imagine this had like a massive budget, especially because he's still so unknown. And it only made like 1 million, but I don't think it had like really any theatrical release. So, I mean, that would be why. Oh, but I wish it did, because it would have ruined many, many lives this summer. Yeah, in a good way.
It's crazy to think about how much like marketing and how much marketing money plays into like what actually is not successful, but like gets this recognition, because I liked Long Legs. I just feel like this movie beats it in pretty much every aspect for me, for what I wanted.
For you, that's, yeah.
And I think a lot of people would feel similarly. I think a lot of other podcasters in this space would feel similarly. And so it's kind of a shame that this couldn't also have been elevated to the level Long Legs was. I don't need it to make more money than it, but it would be nice if they could have been in theaters alongside each other or like back to back.
Yeah. I am thinking just about, I think Long Legs did so many things that contributed to amazing marketing. I think the fact that like you had this big bad that's a famous actor that you didn't show in any advertising was genius. Like, people know him and want to see him. And I think the advertising with her heart rate, like,
was cool,
iconic. And I don't know what this movie would have done, because it just doesn't have the same level of people. So I worry that if it had like TV ads, then they would be the same old like nonsense that you get for a lot of horror movies, which is unfortunate because this movie, again, was like such a standout for us this year.
It really was, yeah.
I would go into this without watching a trailer. We did not watch a trailer, so I can't even comment on what that is. I just
saw a cover.
I saw the cover and I was unwell looking at the cover because
poster,
you see, you see like the wooden mannequin in it, and I was like, the imagery is already scaring me, and I haven't pressed play yet. I would also say spoiler free. Like we said, this movie looks great. I think part of that is the cinematography. Part of that is the set.
The biggest part of it, though, is the lighting.
Yeah.
They lit this movie well, and I'm so happy about it for a modern movie. It was shot digitally, as far as I can tell, which I know I say film is better. It's probably still been better on film, but it doesn't matter. When you actually light it well, it makes it work so much better. It was just overall, and that probably added to the tension too, because I could see what you could see what was supposed to be seen. There was negative space. It wasn't muddled, and I have to give a lot of credit to that. And maybe that's, when you're guys shooting on a shoestring budget, you really have to make sure you get these kind of things right. Or I know he shot both of his movies in the same house, so maybe if you own the space or whatever it is, it's cheaper to take the time to really light.
Yeah.
Lack of studio interference and lack of... I've heard the lighting thing is more just production schedules is like what has caused this. And like the way that movies are put together are counterintuitive to what helps them look better compared to the 70s, 80s, 90s. And like, so that's like a big reason we have that issue. And so there's been like what people are calling a brain drain of technical expertise in the industry because people just aren't doing that work to the same degree.
Well, homeboy was doing the work.
Clearly,
this movie, the
Dude's
lighting.
been studying.
The lighting honestly was incredible. The whole time I was like, oh my God, it's nighttime and I can see.
But you could see only what he wanted you to see.
Yes.
It wasn't like, because I've seen movies at nighttime, Halloween 2018, even though I like you, where you can see everything at night. But there, when you see everything, you also see nothing. Because your eyes don't know where to go. That's my point. Okay. Sorry. Lighting rant. I love doing those.
Yeah.
That'll be on the bingo card someday.
Yeah. Lighting, great. The viewing experience altogether was great. The performances were serviceable. They were pretty good. Nothing I'd like write home about, though. It's probably one of the weaker elements of the movie.
I'm going to wait, because I actually think that the performances were like exactly what they were supposed to be.
Yeah,
and
no,
some
I think
thought
they were.
like quite
I just
good.
like wouldn't be like, yeah, this is Micah Monroe.
Okay,
like,
fine, fine. But all right, let's do spoilers. So give us some of that spoiler background, and then I'll talk about actors when we get there.
Whoa. That's not how we start spoilers. We start with our 15-second summaries.
Oh, okay, my bad. Let's do it.
Okay. The worst part of every episode. I don't know why I always
Why would you say
us. that? No, worst part for me and my anxiety.
Okay. Are you ready?
Apparently the listeners like it or I wouldn't do it.
Ready, go.
Sister is murdered. Blind sister has the sight psychologically, but like not physically. And she has a spiritual connection and uses that to avenge sister. Fuck. Wooden mannequin. Scary.
That was kind of nonsense.
You knew what I was saying?
I did.
Like a blind clairvoyant.
No more explanation.
She has the sight that way.
Yeah, I got you.
She can't see, she's blind. Get it?
Yep.
All right.
All right, spoilers, just so you know. All right, husband, instead of just divorcing his wife, decides to kill her. And then the sister comes back and gets revenge.
As she should.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to throw it out there that it's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I want to like complain that the movie, I'm like, why would you do that, Ted? That's stupid.
Oh, because
people do that in real life.
Also, yeah, so as Hannah was saying, Ted gets somebody to murder his wife so he can, instead of breaking up with her. Because he's a narcissist and probably a sociopath.
Well, he's definitely a sociopath from
I think
like what we see. Yeah, I agree.
Because he's like, why would you not just break up with her? He's like, she wouldn't get over me.
Yeah.
Ted, great character.
Literally
he's so awful.
Fucking crazy. He's basically like, we've sunk too much money into this house that we bought together, so I can't kill her, I need to keep the house. Yep. Or I can't divorce her, I need to keep the house. And I'm like, bruh.
Let me read the full plot summary.
Yeah.
The Wikipedia plot summary, not very good, so I rewrote a decent chunk.
As you probably should.
Always. It can't be plagiarism if it's Wikipedia, which is already basically plagiarism. Think about it. Wikipedia is a great source, but like, basically it's a bunch of sources already made together. You know, there's no author to a Wikipedia article that I'm aware of. Okay. So here we go. Alone one night, Danny, the wife of psychiatrist Ted, is brutally murdered while renovating the couple's newly acquired country house. Ulin Bull, one of Ted's former patients, visited Danny that evening, warning her that a stranger had infiltrated the home. Ulin is ultimately convicted of the crime and is later found murdered. 1 year later, Danny's twin sister Darcy, a blind clairvoyant, is visited by Ted at her Cabinet of Curiosities shop, where he gives her the glass eye of Ulin Bull that was being held by another patient for the past year. That night, Darcy performs a reading on Ulin's glass eye, discovering new knowledge of the night Danny was murdered. Several days later, Darcy arrives unexpectedly at the country house where Ted now resides with his new girlfriend Yana. Preceding Darcy's arrival is the shipment of a large crate containing a strange life-size wooden mannequin. Ted departs to his night shift at the hospital, leaving Darcy alone with Yana, who wishes to leave but is prevented from doing so when her car keys vanish. Yana is frightened when she notices the mannequin moving while she is not looking and drops her cell phone, destroying it. Upon examining the mannequin, Yana finds several strange objects inside holes in its head, including photographs of Danny and Darcy, locks of hair, and a vial of blood. Oof. After observing what appears to be Danny's apparition in the house, Yana panics and manages to flee after finding her car keys inside the crate the mannequin was transported in. Ted returns to the house to find Darcy alone upstairs. Darcy reveals to Ted that she knows he was responsible for Danny's murder. She reveals that she killed Olin to avenge Danny, but upon performing a psychometric reading of Olin's glass eye, she discovered he was in fact innocent. Rather, it was Ted who arranged Danny's murder, enlisting the help of Ivan, a brutish orderly at the psychiatric hospital. Olin overheard overheard discussions between Ted and Ivan regarding the plan to kill Danny, and upon his planned release from the hospital, he arrived at the house that evening to warn Danny. To prove his innocence, Ted tells Darcy he is going to meet with the investigator who presided over the case and have the investigator call her to explain the evidence. He leaves his phone behind for her to answer and then returns to the hospital and calls his cell phone. Darcy, unaware that Ted has removed a trapdoor cover on the floor near where he left the phone, goes to retrieve it and falls to the stone floor below. At Ted's command, Ivan visits the house to ensure Darcy's fate, only to be stalked and attacked by a wooden mannequin which Darcy is controlling before she finally succumbs to her wounds. Ivan, having survived the attack, is committed to the psychiatric hospital by Ted. To ensure that Ivan does not confess to Danny's murder, Ted sets a cannibalistic patient free in Ivan's room, and then Ivan is eaten alive. Ted returns to the country house where he now resides alone. Yana broke up their relationship, disturbed by Ted's nonchalance that both Danny and Darcy died in his home. On the doorstep, Ted finds a small box delivered from Darcy's Oddity shop. Inside is a call bell that Darcy had earlier shown him, which she indicated was haunted by the ghost of a bellhop who died in a local hotel and kills whoever rings it. Ted defiantly rings the bell and momentarily observes his surroundings with no indication of the spirit. As Ted begins to relax, the bellhop spirit appears behind him. And that's how the movie ends.
Oof.
That was a decent description, right?
Yeah.
That was better?
Yeah.
Cool.
I love that Ted gets it at the end.
This also didn't explain that Ted did it because he started dating Yana while they were still married and wanted him and Yana to move into the house. You said that before, but so he was like, yeah, Ivan, just go kill my wife. Make it look like a break-in.
He's literally
Ted's
such
a douchebag.
Piece of shit. I'm glad that I did think it was interesting, and I liked it, that Yana is, like, fucked with, but ultimately not to, like, the same degree.
I liked that as well.
Because she doesn't fully deserve it. Like, she's not the one. Obviously, she's not a good person if she was, obviously a part of that agreement, but she didn't know that he killed. No, I'm the agreement to, like, be the other woman.
She's a homewrecker, yeah. But we gotta blame Ted. Don't blame the homewrecker as much. Less blamed
as much, yeah. No, and I think that's something that in real life and in media you see a lot. It's like women being mad at other women.
Yeah, you always blame the woman. It's easier.
Instead of the piece of shit that did that to you. So I liked that in this, she's like, yeah, you're a homewrecker. I'm going to torture you for a little bit, but I'll let you go because you're not the main problem. It's Ted who willingly cheated on his wife and then murdered her or got her murdered.
Yeah.
Fucking Ted. I hate Ted.
I will say some unique things about this movie that I really like are that the wooden mannequin is a good guy, but he's really scary.
So, want to hear some background on the wooden mannequin? The wooden man was inspired by Jewish folklore of the golem, and I wanted to make sure that I was getting my information correctly. So I went on the website for the Jewish Museum of Berlin. And they indicate a golem is a creature formed out of a lifeless substance such as dust or dirt that is brought to life by ritual, incantations, and sequences of Hebrew letters. The golem, brought into being by a human creator, becomes a helper, a companion, or a rescuer of an imperiled Jewish community.
I actually think I knew that, and it was wiped from my brain. That golem comes from... Or like that a golem, not golem like Lord of the Rings. That like golems come from that. Yeah.
And obviously in certain like Jewish stories, the golem does find a way to turn on its creator.
Oh, classic.
Classic. But I liked in this that it solely was there because Darcy created it or like brought it to life to do her bidding and do the right thing, which is kill Ted. Or try and kill Ted. Yes,
and it's one of her oddities, which all of them are kind of scary. Well, and that's the name of the movie right there.
Yeah.
But, sorry, go ahead.
So a little more on that is that Damian McCarthy was also thinking about like the trope of dolls coming to life and was like, they're always small, and I thought it would be cool to have one that's your size. That would be a force to reckon with if it did come alive. So he was like, here we go, big wooden man.
He's right. Dolls are scary. And this one is very scary looking. It was also made by a witch in the movie. Was given to Darcy's parents for their 5th anniversary because wood is the 5th anniversary present.
Oh my God. Don't get me this for our 5th anniversary. I don't want
a
wooden
like a little
doll.
One, like a little replica.
I don't want it. It's scary as fuck. The design is so good.
I have to keep saying though, it's so scary, but there was a part in the movie where I go, oh, well, but like he's the good guy. We're rooting for him because...
Yeah, he's helping.
because Darcy, that's her name, is controlling. And you were like, yeah, I'm not as scared now. And I was like, I disagree. I'm still very scared, even though he's the good guy. And then 15 seconds later, you go, yeah, you're right. I'm still really scared.
I think it helped slightly, but not enough that I wanted to open my eyes.
It makes it more fun, but I'm also horrified. It was this weird mix, and I was very impressed that this movie was able to do it. I don't know why it was able to. I literally cannot pinpoint why this movie was able to do what it did. But I'll tell you, it worked. So
I did want to say, because you mentioned it's one of her oddities. So many of the oddities McCarthy found himself in old antique shops. And he said he browsed shelves for years for oddities to use in the movie.
That's super cool. I want to go to an oddity shop or a cabinet of curiosities. It seems fun. I don't want to buy anything. I just want to go.
I'm scared.
Well, if you pay for it, it won't get cursed. That's how it works, right? If you're not stealing it, if you steal it, it's cursed.
Oh, if you steal it, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Don't steal.
And don't burn it.
Don't steal haunted items. Paranormal in Pennsylvania has covered some locations where, if you steal something, the haunting follows you because you're cursed and you have to bring the item back to stop.
Yep.
One of my friends took a seashell from a beach where you're not supposed to take seashells or other things. And then she started having bad luck. And she was like, how do I fix this? And I was like, you should probably mail it back. So she literally mailed it to the office at this park.
Did her bad luck go away?
I think so, actually.
Weird.
I'll tell you off the air.
Okay. Well.
It's very funny. Also, the other piece of background that I have is Ulin Bull was the subject of one of McCarthy's short films called How Ulin Lost His Eye, which explores his backstory. Maybe
we should watch that, because he was a cool character.
Yeah,
I liked him.
I agreed.
I also liked they played with the trope of him being kind of scary, not having the eye. And at the beginning, he's like, get out of the house. And you're not supposed to trust him. Mm-hmm. But Hannah and I were both we trust him.
Well, I think part of it was that it's he started off seeming, potentially sketchy, but there was something he said that I was like, someone trying to get you out of your house to murder you wouldn't say that. He
had very kind way of speaking, which maybe, sort of Ted Bundy. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that. It was something specific that he said. And I think it was also that she was like, I'm not coming out because I don't have a phone and you don't have a phone and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, okay, I'll go to town and I'll call the police and I'll send them here. But you protect yourself. And that, I was like, he wouldn't do that if he was trying to abduct her or kill her.
Mm-hmm. But it was a good setup because we don't learn for a while that it wasn't him. You're it just kind of cuts and then it's a year later and she's dead. And you're like, I guess he did do it.
And he's accused, yeah. He's found.
He's found guilty.
Well, we don't actually know if he's found guilty.
He's convicted, it said.
Was he actually convicted?
Yeah, I thought so.
It's hard to tell in the movie if he dies before being convicted or not.
Got it. Okay.
But they say he did.
No. He was back in the psychiatric hospital after because another patient held onto his eye for a year and then had a heart attack.
Okay. I found that kind of confusing, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah, that sounds like a you problem. Oh. Okay. Well,
you mentioned being confused by the time
I know,
last
and then,
night too,
and then
but
I thought
you put
about
it together.
Then I put it together.
I didn't try.
So, what other things did you like about this movie? Unless that's it for background, right?
Yeah, that's all I have for background. Oh, I like in the very beginning, the shots through the door. So when Ulin comes to the door, she has one of those little slide things that's basically a square that you look out.
It's a speakeasy slide.
Yeah, and the way it was shot from both sides and how that limited the viewpoint that you had was really fucking cool.
You were seeing from their viewpoint.
Yes.
So you couldn't see what else was out there. You couldn't see where the threat was. I also remember in the moment saying, well, that's an amazing shot.
Yes.
So
that was so
overall,
cool.
yeah, well-crafted placement of the camera. So I guess we would call that good cinematography there. Which led to the tension. Maybe that was why I can't pinpoint movies, because it was such fluent camera work and cinematography that I wasn't noticing it, but it was really good in that way, kind of that mix.
I also thought the scene, which happened, they show us a little later in the movie, but it's the scene that chronologically would have taken place right after that, where Ulin leaves And then she's like very scared in the house and she's like looking around and we don't see it and the camera's panning and she doesn't see it. And then she gets in the tent. She has a hammer and she's in the tent and then she zips herself into the tent. And then
she looks at the camera.
And then she like she looks at the camera and sees that someone was in the house on the time lapse on her camera. And then at some point she like unzips the tent barely and you get like this jump scare of the person outside the tent and they look scary as fuck because they're wearing a really creepy mask. Great fucking villain design. Iconic. Really got me and is so simple. That whole sequence was so well constructed and like
that was a scream.
Amps up the fucking tension like no other. Horrible. Loved it. Great.
So we said already, lighting's really good. Movie looks good. I was saying I really like the performances, particularly Ted's, because while early on I was like, oh my God, did he have her killed? He still was giving this like kind of nonchalant, like kind of not dumb, but just like bland person, like not capable of that. He seemed like kind of kind. And then I really felt like, okay, well,
That's not what I got.
All right, well, I'm telling you what I am. So
okay,
it's
that's
your turn.
fine.
Okay. I was just saying, like, I felt like it was like hidden enough to me in his performance, and I liked that.
Yeah.
And then also Danny and Darcy are played by the same woman, who I think overall does just
great.
a really good job.
Yeah,
and like really
good.
Carries the movie like she needs to.
Yeah,
so.
She was really good. I think she deserves a lot of props. I feel like one of the things I really like in this movie, I'm just gonna skip on through my feelings about Ted.
Okay.
I really like how they withhold information until we need to have it. So when we first meet Darcy, it's not abundantly clear that she's blind. Like, we have a couple minutes in the scene where it seems like she's blind, but we're not told explicitly she's blind for a couple minutes. And I thought that that was really cool, like kind of just like letting us figure that out for ourselves. I also like...
Wait, I want to say that that's a reoccurring theme throughout. Yes. Is that where you're going to go? That like there's always information withheld from the audience. And that was something I felt very unique about this movie.
Yes.
It wasn't annoying that it was withheld. It was all withheld to service the narrative and for pacing reasons.
Yes.
And because they did it from the beginning, I think it was like acceptable to me throughout to always be withholding a little bit of information.
Yeah, I think another example is when the trunk arrives at the house that Ted and Yana, they look in the trunk and they're like, what the fuck? But we don't see it for quite a while.
We're like a weird fly on the wall of this story. We're very much not from the perspective of any character. Exactly.
Yeah.
You could argue maybe like Danny's ghost a little bit, but like even then, no. Like, and I think that's kind of cool is that we become our own little viewer that kind of gets sucked in. And it really works. I think in some movies, if it wasn't constructed well, it would be annoying. And this one, I think it's necessary.
Yeah. Did you have anything in this movie that didn't work for you?
I actually don't think I did. I don't think there was anything like outstanding that I would say bothered me. I actually felt that I was like halfway through and was like, I'm really, really liking this. I think this is one of my favorite horror movies of the year, but it might not stick the landing. And I knew I had like a thought of like where it could go that it wouldn't stick the landing. And that would be just kind of done another bland rabbit hole, break-in, haunted house type situation. One of those ideas, if that done that, it wouldn't have worked. But the fact that it was like the scary thing is one, Danny's ghost, and two, the mannequin being controlled by Darcy. I was like so into that like kind of subversion of expectations for a horror movie that like I could not complain. It actually really stuck the landing for me.
I felt like it got a little less scary for me once she fell in the trap door. And I was also like, why the fuck does Ted have a fucking trap door, this piece of shit? And that felt kind of like...
Oh, because it was like a weird... If it was like a weird barn.
Yeah, it's an old weird house.
Don't complain, Jeremy.
So for some reason, I was just like, when did this get here? That not set up. But if they'd shown us that like one time, I would have been like, okay, great, perfect. So I don't know, that just like weirdly bothered me.
I really liked it because I was just like, oh my god, this guy is the worst.
Because
they don't show us the trapdoor.
No.
He leaves. They don't show it to us until
the phone rings.
You know, maybe our perspective is sort of from Darcy's as like
It's
the
not.
blind woman. I know, because like the screen's not black. But I'm just saying, like, she can't see, but she knows what's there. But like, we are kind of not given the full picture always, and I think that's cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's from her point of view though, but it's definitely a third person viewpoint.
Yes. Third person limited, not omniscient.
Yes, definitely.
Which feels like a lot of movies are not typically limited in their third person. It's not that we're inside their heads, but like we can see everything that they can see.
Yeah.
And in this one, like, we're not, which is kind of, I think it worked really well. Yeah. I honestly like to see someone else try it. I don't know if it'd be successful, but go for it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I do feel like this movie towards the end lost a little bit of steam for me, but then the last scene was like, JK bitch.
Interesting. No, I didn't feel the steam loss. You said it's at the point after she fell through the trap door?
Yeah, for a little bit.
I called you out on that, and you were like, wait, no, this is still really scary.
It was still really scary, but not quite as scary. I'm going to stand by that. I also just like thought the scene with her like controlling it looked a little corny, but it like is very important it was very important to the concept of the movie, so like it's fine.
Which part did you find to look corny? Because I do want to argue with you. Not argue, I want to just provide.
I don't know, her just like in the trapdoor on the floor and like moving her arms and shit. Like,
her,
it was important.
not the creature.
Her,
okay.
not the creature.
Okay, well, fine.
But I think it's narratively important, so like, it's fine.
It's very much about her like emotional connection to Danny as well.
Yes.
But I want to take a step back because I thought you were going to complain about the mannequin. You're not.
No.
I want to say that the scene where the mannequin is following him is like straight from nightmares I've had. And I was like, I'm sweating. Like I was watching it, was like, I don't feel good. Like have you had nightmares like that? Because I know I have like either a mummy following me or like a creature like that where it's like.
No.
And he's at the stairs and he has to jump off and then it just comes right back down. Oh my God, yeah,
when it comes right back down the stairs, so I was like, you motherfucker.
I have had nightmares that looked identical to that scene. And that I said that to you while watching. So when I thought you were going to call that corny and I was going to be like, nope, not for me.
No, not that part. And I've not had nightmares like that. So
I bet you will now.
I was expecting really bad dreams last night, but our cat slept next to me and kept purring in my ear and licking my head. So I think she was warding off the bad. She was healing my scared brain while also being a pain in my ass and not letting me sleep. Yeah. I did expect to see, like, when I walked to the bathroom, I, like, kept, like, thinking I would imagine the wooden dude.
Yep.
Because it's just, like, the imagery was so scary. Literally, look, even if you're not going to watch this, like, look up a picture of him. It's fucking scary.
We also forgot to compliment, because I think everyone's been complimenting this, but, like, the practical effects are really good and the creature design is really, really good.
So, I've said the creature design, like, 40,000 times.
I swear I don't remember saying that.
I literally, like, was just saying that.
Well, overall, I would say, like, the bellhop's design is really good. His design, though the mannequin's design is really good. I really like pretty much all of the artistic choices in set and like props, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like there's nothing major I didn't like than just like a feeling of like maybe this corny, maybe not, but narratively it's really important. I like that Ted gets what's coming to him at the end. Like he thinks he survived it. He clearly has like so much like fucking blind confidence in himself.
Hubris. He's a doctor, Hannah.
Yeah, and then ringing that bell. Oh, he deserved it so much. Loved that. What did you feel was the scariest scene for you? Or the best scare?
I think it had to be the tent when Danny, what you were talking about earlier. That whole thing, you were just like, I think once, from the moment that she looks in the camera and finds out, oh, there is someone in her house, and then is like, I need to run to the door. I need to open the tent and run to the door, and she slowly moves because she's kind of frozen, and then you end up just seeing Ivan in the mask, like, in the way that he appears.
Oh, it's
from
so
the side
scary.
of the tent is just horrific. Very well lit scene, again, with like decent amount of negative space that kind of lets your mind wander.
Yep.
It also draws your eye into the darkness when he actually comes at you from the side, like a raptor in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that shit was so scary. I would say that. I think the camera scare was really, really good. We mentioned that earlier, but to provide more context, it's Yana looking at the camera because she found Danny's old camera and she's just like looking at what's on it.
And she's watching a video and she watches the video the whole way through once.
And then watches it again and sees Danny's ghost face in it.
The second time.
And then it scares you. But then the same image shows up in the corner of her room, like right after, which like I expected the camera scare. I did not expect it to then be in her room.
See, I didn't expect either.
Yeah.
The camera
I think
scare,
you should have.
well,
but
I thought it was a genius setup to have it play once and then have it. There's also like a rule of 3. So a lot of the times you think the scare thing happens on 3.
Yeah.
It happens on 2 here, which catches you off guard. 4 is also good because then 4 you're like sweating. But in this one, I to be honest, it played once and it played out a certain way, and then she goes to play it again. And I think they had my mind think there was going to be a scare somewhere else. So I wasn't really expecting it in the second play. I just expected to see the same thing again. So when it did happen, it happened in a way I didn't expect it. And it was definitely like a pee your pants type of scare.
No, the second she whipped out the camera, I started hiding a little bit. But like the kind of hide where you still see the screen, where you're like hands in front of it, but then you walk through your fingers so you still see the entire screen, but then you close your fingers when something scary actually starts happening.
I did reach for my face a couple times. I wouldn't say I hid, but like
You started.
I reflexively threw my hands up.
Yeah, it was fucked. I also just want to say, so like those were probably my 2 scary scenes, but I did feel like any of the Yana in the house with Darcy and the wooden man sitting there, like barely moving, that woman is braver than the troops. She scared, like those scenes also scared the shit out of me because it just like kept going without a break. But the scares were so minor compared to like those other things, but they were all really effective. What did this movie mean to you? What's it saying?
I'm not totally sure.
Yeah.
I don't think that this had like any insane thematic element.
Agree.
I do think there is something to be said about hubris in it.
Yeah, with
and
Ted.
how the bad guy, Ted, is just not a very humble guy in a lot of different ways. He doesn't really believe in the paranormal that Darcy's explaining. He cheats on his wife and then believes that she won't be able to get over him, so he tries to kill her instead and fully thinks he can get away with it. He talks about multiple times with patience. He's like, I can do whatever I want here, and I don't really ever get questioned, which he ends up basically killing his accomplice with a cannibalistic inmate. Also horrific.
Yes.
So I do think there's this kind of idea about like the hubris of man, and especially like men in positions of power like this.
Yes.
Maybe this guy had a problem with a doctor. He's anti-psychiatry.
I don't think he's anti-psychiatry at all. I think he's anti-being a dickhead.
I'm joking. But that's like the big one I can take from this. There's got to be something about the family bond. Yeah, that's where I was going to go. Do you want to talk about that one?
Oh, I was just going to say in the wise words of the Fast and the Furious, family. Yeah, I mean, because clearly so much of this is about what Darcy is willing to do to like figure out what happened to Danny and avenge her in how she feels is the best way. Yeah. Even if it means that she knows she will have a horrific end by doing that, it's like they're so tied together that for her it's worth doing.
Yeah, I guess we also can say the dig 2 graves revenge story type thing, because she does get the revenge she deserves, but she even says like she killed an innocent man. She killed Ulan, who was really there to save her sister, and she said, and I will
she was
pay
like,
for
I
that.
will pay, and she does.
But in some ways, she kind of avenges him too.
Yes, I do agree. By getting Ted.
And
what's his name? Ivan. Yeah.
Getting Ted and Ivan, and then also like dying in the process. I think Ulan can be at rest there.
Yeah. Yeah. Ultimately, so I don't think those are like, I don't know, super unique or like dived into themes. I think they're more service level themes. I also think the main purpose is just to scare the shit out of you. Yeah. And mission accomplished.
What did you think, and maybe this is a little thematic sort of, about, so Danny's ghost was able to scare Yana off, but Danny's ghost did not do anything to Ted. It was Darcy that had to control but it kind of seems like maybe she was controlling him alongside Danny because she was like, we're connected, or we have a connection, which is something she said. I thought that was kind of interesting. Like maybe that the ghosts in this world can't really actually control someone in the world. They can really just only show their presence.
Well, and I think the thing is that Ted is so conceited, self-serving. He doesn't believe in the paranormal. So even if there were signs of her, he would never believe it. So it's not going to work. Yep. But she knows Yana, she can mess with.
But clearly some ghosts do have the ability, I'm not going to question the way this works, but like the bellhop has the ability to actually like hurt people apparently. I will also say another sign of the hubris that we forgot is that Darcy actually messes up, but she had a contingency, which was the bell, because she knew that Ted was so conceited and so full of himself that he would tempt fate and ring that bell because he knows better. He's so smart.
Paranormal doesn't exist.
Paranormal doesn't exist, and he can do whatever he wants. So he rings that bell and then laughs, and the music plays, and he laughs, basically looking at the camera, and then a pretty scary creature design just pops up of a bellhop, shows up behind him, and the movie ends. I will say, you know what? Maybe that's something this movie does wrong. Is I kind of wanted to see Ted get brutalized and murdered.
I know
that. I know why we don't.
I think this movie does a good job of not actually making you like look at the violence, because when Danny dies, we don't actually watch it happen. We just see the aftermath of blood all over.
I know,
and we don't see this. And the only thing we really see is like Darcy after she's fallen down, but we don't we're not watching her die like this super brutal. Murder.
I just death. I know that we know Ted dies. It's just like Ivan gets such a horrible demise being eaten alive, and Ted, you don't get to see what happens to him.
We also don't really see Ivan.
We see him eat his foot.
Yeah, but it's a foot.
I think it's implied in a way that's scary.
No, it is implied and it is scary, but we're not watching him get eaten, like his whole body get eaten alive.
I guess that's just saying the implication there is way scarier to me than what happens to Ted.
Yeah, I think the implication there is really disturbing. But again, I do like that they don't make you stare violence in the face. And I think, like we've said, sometimes that can be scarier. Yeah. Like it's not relying on like stupid body horror just being gross.
I have another question for you. Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't need body horror. I just it's fine. I just kind of wanted to see Ted's demise a little. But why? And I don't think we have an answer to this, but I just want to pose it. Ted goes and looks at drawings done by Ulin, I believe. And Ulin had drawings of what looked like the mannequin, and the mannequin picking a man up and squeezing their head until it explodes, which kind of sets us up to be scared of that happening later. But I wasn't sure why Ulin was seeing those things, unless it was some kind of projection from Danny coming to try and get him.
That's what I think. I think he in some way has some sort of sight, just like how Darcy does, some kind of clairvoyance. Whether that's given to him by Danny somehow, whether he already had that, whether that's in the short film related to his eye, I don't know.
Oh, we gotta go watch the short film.
I don't know. I didn't need to know.
I would also say it wasn't a distracting point. No. It was kind of something that was a little something interesting here, a little bit of foreshadowing to what might happen. Yeah. Yeah, overall, I think well-crafted movie. I think, maybe the thematic element leaves a little bit to be desired, but I do think there's enough of it there, and I don't think it was promising anything more.
Yeah, I think it gives you what it's promising to give you, which is a good time and a scare, or 13.
Yeah. So, well,
let's rate it.
Let's rate it. Sure. So do you want to go first, or you want me to?
I'm gonna go 9.
You give it a 9?
Yeah. Damn. You know I can't rate higher than that because I have anxiety.
I wasn't going to give it higher than a 9, so...
Okay.
But you can give it whatever you want. I was going to say, so for me, it is not the best horror movie of the year. It is probably the scariest in terms of normal scares. The best horror movie of the year in my mind is still I Saw the TV Glow. I don't know.
I think it's just an amazingly well-made film, and it's just very different.
And it's very scary in a different way. Which is, I think that's definitely one that makes me feel like I want to throw up at the end. Where this one makes me want to, pee my pants. And so those are different types of scares that exist. Mm-hmm. So this one, though, while not being, I think, the best, is the scariest, and is still probably in top 3 horror movies this year. Don't ask me to name them right now, though.
No, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Top 3, if at minimum top 5. So I'm going to slap an 8.5 out of 10 on it. Very good. It's memorable. Maybe it deserves to be higher. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars in Letterboxd, but I think it's actually a 8.5, which 4.25 stars.
Yeah, can you do that on Letterboxd?
No, you can only do halves.
I would have given it a 4.5. Fuck it. Well, mine is literally 4.5. Yeah.
So that's where we are. That's where it goes. Sir. I think it's really good. I'd highly recommend it. I hope you guys listen to this episode and go watch.
Yeah, I definitely think this movie deserves it. It's a shame it didn't have a wider release and that people don't know about it. But that's why we wanted to cover it, because you should know about it. You should watch it.
Yeah, with the amount of ridiculous stuff. Night Swim that gets released this year. Like, go see an Oddity.
Blumhouse is having a rough year. Like a rough fucking year.
Blumhouse is probably at, hot take. They're probably past their expiration date.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's just, like, once you get so big, it's fun when you're, like, small and gritty. But, like, once you are one of the big boys again, you're not really feeling like this indie. I know they were never exactly indie. Like, you kind of lose the magic a little bit.
Imagine your wide releases of the year being Night Swim, Imaginary, and Afraid. How horrible must you feel?
Wait, what was Imaginary?
We didn't see it. It's the one that had all the teddy bears and the commercials and the
I have
poster.
no idea what that is. I know Afraid. I don't know if that was a good or not, though. I haven't heard anything.
Bad.
It looks pretty bad.
So I'm going to assume it's bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it out even?
I don't know.
Who cares?
Well, okay, that's our ratings. I don't think we have anything else to say other than go see it, which we've said many times. So, Ready to wrap it up?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm Matt Hanna.
I'm Anna.
This is Horror Hour with the Hannas. We're done.
And I'm scared.
Thank you for listening to Horror Hour with the Hannas. Make sure to listen to future episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or wherever you can find podcasts. You can follow us at Horror Hour with the Hannas on TikTok and Instagram for more content. If you like the podcast, please follow and leave a review on your favorite podcasting app. Happy hauntings!